of the legal area, right? And that's how they used. And the Byzantine emperors, the Roman emperors, and the Byzantine emperors, actually produced these. They looked like coins. Sometimes they were square, and they said exagium on them, so that you know this would be a low weight. And you went to the Shulchani, and he put on a low weight and he tested it to see if it was good. And that's how now I know the answer. Just happened to be that I heard this whole story 2 hours after I learned the Gemara, which was, telling me something that I'm on the right track, doing something right. The interesting thing is, I'm going to answer your question before you ask it. The other question is the Byzantine weight that was for sale was exactly 8% lower than the real coin. And so it wasn't Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Shimon that gave the answer according to the Byzantine emperors, the Byzantine law, but it was Rabbi Yehuda, which says 8% less. Interesting that it was 8%, exactly what Rabbi Yehuda said. That was the law in the Byzantine world of what was legal. So there's an example of we learned something about how something was done in the Gemara by looking at the coins and what they were doing in the ancient world.
I have another question.
Go.
Now, the enhancements or the insights in Gemara that you bring to this Talmud Chacham, I hope they're being written down someplace so we don't lose it with the end of your chavrusa.
Well, I do some, I'm doing this lecture, and there are some things that we'll give examples, the other examples.
But I'm sure
of what
each
we
day
learned.
there's new insights.
Every other day, maybe,
Okay,
not so
yes,
often.
but are they documented?
Not enough.
Please, please.
Okay, so let's return to our shekels and our weighing. And we're going to look at this weight here, this scale. Now this is an actual ancient scale. I think we added the strings recently. The strings didn't last, but the scale did. And not only that, but we have a picture from ancient Egypt of someone using this scale to weigh things. And we have this funny picture of an animal, right? And that was a weight. Some of the weights were not just round or square. Sometimes they used weights that looked like animals, right? So someone found this weight, but interestingly enough, in this ancient picture from 3,000 years ago of an ancient Egyptian weighing out some gold or silver, you can see the weights over here that look just like this weight that was actually found, a metal weight that was found. So we can put all this together and see that this is not something that, it was just used sometimes, that this was a standard thing. If we can find the weights in metal and see the pictures of them from ancient times, right? And these are weights from ancient times, and that's how things were weighed out. So one of the things that that we need to learn today, that's used every day today, I'm going to put this down. Some of the questions that rabbis are asked are always, well, the most important thing, machatzita shekel is one thing, but machatzita shekel it's not a halacha that we have to bring today because it's done as a symbol. And we use coins, we use $50, we use all different things, and we don't worry about the weight. On the other hand, pidyon haben is halacha le'ayom. And you need 5 shekels in order to liftot et haben. How would you say that in English? Liftot et haben? To redeem your firstborn son. Now, many of you have not gotten involved with pidyon haben because it's a very rare occurrence of pidyon haben. First of all, someone like me, my family never had one because we're levine. My wife's family is kohanim. So anyone who's a Levi or Kohen, they don't have pidyon haben. And Yisraelim, Yisrael has to have a pidyon haben, but it's only the firstborn male, and it has to be peter rechem. So if there was any a miscarriage or this, you don't have pidyon haben. So pidyon haben is not a very often occurrence, But when you have a pidyon ben, you have to have a minimum of 5 shekel kesef. So the question is, how much is shekel HaKodesh? How much does it weigh? And over the years, the mishkal of halacha, I said we were going to be talking about the actual mishkal shekel, has grown from what it was during the time of the Torah to what it is today. And halacha today is basically pretty much accepted that a shekel is 19 plus grams, which is a problem because at the time of Beit HaMikdash, not Beit HaMikdash, before, the time of Avram, it was 11.2 grams of shekel. So how did this halacha grow? How did the coin grow over the years? And the answer is when they would come later on, after there were actual shekels, when they would come to a rabbi and they would say, well, there are no shekels today. I'm in France. I'm in Europe. I'm in Egypt. I'm in all sorts of places. What coins do I bring? And so the rabbanim, the poskim, over the years, they would take a look at what coins they had, and they would come up with a dirham, a silver coin from the 1200 years, 1200 about, and it might have weighed. Each one would weigh, let's say, 12 grams. We only need 11, but there wasn't a coin of 11 grams. It was 12 grams. Okay, so you need 5 of them. 5 times 12 is 60. You only need 55. But there were no 50 coins that were 55 grams of weight for 5 of them. So they said you need 5 of these, which is 60 grams. So now all of a sudden you're saying you need 60 grams. Now, 200 years later, these dirhams were not in circulation, and they asked the poskim, what do I need? Well, there were no coins that were 12 grams each. There were coins that were 14 grams each. So they said you can't use 4 of them; it's not enough. So because 14 times was 12 is times 4 is not enough. And so they would say, you need 5 of these. 5 of these is now 70 grams. So now, this posek said you need 70 grams because they translated the coins, 14 grams to 70 grams. So now we're up to 70 grams, right, or 14 grams each. And so over the years, this amount grew and grew. Now, I'm not telling you only need 11 grams. You choose your posek and you choose your other. We're not talking halakha, we're talking history. I want to go back and look at what was the shekel HaKodesh when we had to first give machatzit shekel. So I go back to this mishkal right here, which says shekel on it. Right? And that shekel is 11.2 grams. So I know that at the time when the Torah was given, this was the shekel, 11.2 grams. And that's what the shekel was. All right? So we need 55 grams. But there's a problem. At the time of Knesset HaGedolah, there was added shtut, 16% to the shekel. Now, why was that? Well, let's look at it. The Gemara on page 1.
May this be the reason why Eino is shtus? The halacha of Eino of cheating is a shtus because
No.
it has nothing to do with
No.
Because why is the number at shtus? Cheating.
That became, shtus is used all over. A sixth.
Yeah, but why is that number a sixth?
Well, actually, it wasn't a sixth. It was a fifth. But it was a fifth. It was a fifth added on,
Right.
which becomes a sixth,
Yeah.
right, from the top.
Right.
All right. So it was always a fifth that was added on. That's a good question to look at all the different places that a shtut was used. But the first time it was used was for a practical reason, right? And that is when Am Yisrael, Chazul Eretz Yisrael, came back to Eretz Yisrael, and they wanted to bring a coin. They brought different coins. First of all, they started out. Let's look here on number 9. in Mishnah Maseket Shkalim, Perek Bet Mishnah Dalet. From line 3, it says, Hayu shoklim darkonot, chazru lishkol slaim, chazru lishkol taba'in, uvikshu lishkol dinarim, velo kiblu mehem. This is probably one of the most important places where we learn from the coins that are mentioned here what the whole thing meant. First of all, darkonot is a very important example of coins changing names, because darkonot were gold coins. It can't be that for machasita shekel, which had to be a very small amount that everyone could afford, that they were bringing gold coins, right? That's a tremendous amount. Remember, gold was worth 20 times more than silver coins, right? So they're asking, instead of machatzita shekel, they're asking for 20 times that amount for machatzita shekel. That can't be. But there were darkonot, which were silver coins also. So if we look at the picture here, this is the coin from Paras that they brought back to Eretz Yisrael. It's a silver coin, and it weighs exactly 5.6 grams, machatzita shekel. Right? At the time, there was a gold coin called a darkon, which looks exactly like it. If it was printed in black and white, you couldn't tell the difference between these two coins. They're the same shape, they're the same size, they're not the same weight, because gold is much heavier than silver. But they were the same, they looked exactly the same. Right? The same picture on them. Right? And so we said, well, this is a darkon, so it was this coin that they had to bring as machatzita shekel. Doesn't make sense. Right? But why was this coin also a darkon? It's not the only place in the Gemara where the same coin was used, gold and silver. If you look down one more, and you see the dinar zahab and a dinar kesef, which is used very often in the Gemara when it talks about dinar kesef and dinar zahav. But again, time is important, because some places in the Gemara it says dinar without saying whether it's dinar kesef or dinar zahav, and sometimes it says dinar kesef, dinar zahav. So when it says dinar, what does it mean? Dinar kesef is zahav, right? The answer is, in the beginning of the Gemara, in the early times, in the Mishnah and the beginning of the Gemara, dinar is in dinar kesef, right? And when they wanted to say dinar zahav, they said dinar zahav. But in the last years of the Gemara, if it says dinar, it meant dinar zahav, and if they meant dinar kesef, they said dinar kesef. So again, you have to know when this Gemara was from, what year, right? And this is a perfect example, because there are two Roman coins, right, that looked exactly alike, again, in black and white, and they had, they didn't have color cameras at that time. They only had black and white cameras during the time, right? So if you were colorblind, if you were a blind man just feeling the coin, right, you couldn't tell one from the other. Same size, same picture, same everything, except one is zahab and one is kesef. And so we have an example of, at the time, showing coins that were exactly the same picture. One's dinar kesef, one's dinar zahav, and my theory, my chidush, is that they were talking about not the dinar. The darkon at that time was a darkon kesef, and not a darkon zahav. As a matter of fact, this coin, this silver coin, is called at that time a sigloi, and the word sigloi is Greek for shekel, and it was 5.6. And so at first they brought in, they paid the machatzita shekel with a shekel which was exactly 5.6 grams. And it was okay. But these went out of use. So they had to bring in other coins. So they brought in other coins which said slaim. They used slaim, and the seller was the word shekel in Aramaic. and they used taba'in, which we're not sure what they were, right? And then they brought
Why
in,
wouldn't tabayim would be like tabad?
no, mi matbea. Taba'in mi lashon matbea. All right?
Yeah, with a coin also.
Coin. Okay. So there were coins called taba'in. So they used a larger coin, which was a sela. Sela was a heavier coin, and they used the taba'in, which was a less coin. And and then they used dinari. Well, dinar is only a half of machatzit shekel. There were 4 dinarim for shekel, 2 dinarim in a machatzit shekel. When they wanted to bring a zuz, when they wanted to bring only a dinar, no, adkan, we can't go that low. So it was allowed to bring heavier coins. You were allowed to bring heavier coins and bring them as machatzit shekel. You couldn't bring a lesser coin. All right? The only thing is that everyone had to bring the same amount. That was halacha. Right? So it was okay for the rabbis to say, you can bring a taba'in, but it had to be, everyone was bringing a larger amount. But when they said everyone's going to bring a dinar, half of a machatzit shekel, no, that you were not allowed to do.
So let's put do me a favor, please. In years, we're talking about Bisman Shabbat Migash Hayakaya.
Okay? Yes.
What year is that? What year?
Okay, so Chazru, they brought the silver sigloy, the silver darkon, 330 BC Baruch.
330 BC.
BCE.
How many years are the coins in circulation since you're saying?
Okay, so those coins were in circulation about 100 years, and then they were minting
Safra
coins.
Pearl, it's only around 100 years?
100 years.
What do you
And
mean,
then they started use. Avram Avinu, they weren't coins.
So the coins, until the Beis Hamikdash, the coins are only around.
Sof Bayit Rishon, there's no coins. There's no coins. Now, I know that this sounds hypocrisy to say that. So I brought the page 4 of our packet, which is from Mikrot Gedolot.
In what empire did coins start? That 600 whatever. What empire brought them in?
The Greek Empire in Turkey. The Greeks in Turkey, in Western Turkey, invented the coins. This is a daf from Mikros Gedolos of Mikros Gedolos of Mosad Rav Kook.
What picture
Right,
is
called-
on that? What image is on that coin?
That's a beka. That's a mishkal. Mishkal.
Image.
A weight. It's
Okay,
a weight.
There's some words or a picture.
Beka. A beka was a weight.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I don't expect you to believe me that there were no coins.
We trust you, we trust you.
No, you shouldn't trust me.
Night outside, we'll trust you.
Yeah, not enough. Mikros Gedolos
Yeah.
of Mosad Rav Kook, which is called Mikra, Dat Mikra, says specifically, all right, in Kitisa, that there were no coins at the time of the Torah. All right, that's what they explain.
So what is it?
They're just backing me up. Well, they didn't do it to back me up. They did this.
What's it mean?
Just what we said, a weight. And that's why, because the Dat Mikra shows a beka, a weight that was used at the time to weigh out the silver. All right, so that's a little backup from my, me being a.
Times of the Mishnah there was.
There were coins.
Okay, so when you're going
So we're getting to that. So we're going to say that so that when they came to Eretz Yisrael, they started using slaim, shekels of the Tzol, Tyre today, right? The city of Tyre, which it was called at that time Tzol, all right? And that was the most prominent coin used in Eretz Yisrael at the time, the shekel of Tzol, which is called in the Gemara, shekel Tzol.
Sorry?
Kesef Tzori, shekel Tzori. From,
Are there any of those still around?
of course.
So they're very valuable?
They're valuable. You can get them anywhere, depending upon the condition, from $700, $800, $1,000 a coin. Right? Okay, so they used the shekel tzori that was used in Beit HaMikdash, and the Mishnah says that was the only coin that was allowed to be used in Beit HaMikdash. Was
Moshe, that's called shekel hakodesh. There are different types. There is the one that was on the marketplace.
right.
That was the one that was on the marketplace, and then there was shekel hakodesh. Shekel hakodesh means this is the holy way of doing business. Is that the way?
Yes.
Is that the way to describe it?
Yes, and
What is
so
the holy way to do business?
it was what was prescribed in the Torah. What else could you? It says, this is the shekel, esrim gera, not eser gera, esrim gera. That was the weight of it, right? And it says b'shekel hakodesh, right? Esrim shekel, esrim b'shekel. You have to pay it b'shekel hakodesh. This type of shekel. So in Seoul, they minted coins, and they were used in the land of Israel. Huh?
Where is this place, Tsar?
So is in southern Lebanon, about 20 miles north of the Israeli border.
Why was it zoichet to this?
Because they were the coins that were mostly used in Eretz Israel, and they were consistent in their weight of silver, right?
Not Israeli territory.
It was used in Eretz Israel, yes.
Not Israeli territory. Kesef Tur, you're saying?
Was used in, what do you mean by Israeli territory?
And where is it? You're saying it's
Today it's in Lebanon. But that wasn't Lebanon then, it was, right?
Okay, I'm just asking.
Yeah, mutal. Okay, and so
I have
yes.
a question that's not a question. Now, in the pictures you were showing, one line, the upper line was larger, the next line was smaller. Was that 50%? Was that half? The dinar, was that half? 50%. There's two lines, one was larger, and the smaller ones were right next below. The one below was called the dinar.
Different time, different, it was just an example.
But
Different time.
one wasn't 50% of the other.
No,
Okay.
it's close to 50% of the other.
Okay, so dinar is a smaller.
Dinar is a
Smaller
small,
coin.
yes. Okay, so they came to Eretz Israel. They used the coins that they brought for a while, but they weren't enough, and they went out of circulation. So they started using the coin that was used in Eretz Israel, and that was the shekel from Seoul. Okay, the shekel from Seoul was 14 grams. It wasn't 11.2 grams. Right, it was 14 grams. And so, Anshe Knesset Gedolah ruled that from now on everyone was going to bring to Beis HaMikdash Chatzi Shekel Tzori. Right? That's 16%, exactly 16% more than the shekel that they brought from Paras, and it's exactly 16% more than the official weight of the shekel. So Anshe Knesset Gedolah kavu l'tamid